Ah, that'll be you then. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Very good, very good. Now, it's always not. See, there was Jessie J saying a highlight of the day, and you could be the highlight of Tuesday. How's that?
Oh, why not? What
Why
a
not,
compliment.
indeed? Why not? You've been many things. You might as well be a highlight as well.
Let's go with it.
Let's go with it. All right. So today, let's see. First of all, you've had a good week, and as normal, and been very
Mhm.
busy. And are you pleased with the way things are going for you?
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's sort of about if you're not pleased with it, take an action or make a decision to change it, really.
Yeah.
There have been points where I get too busy and I say, okay, gonna drop something then. Gonna have to let something go. Can't do all of it. If I wasn't busy enough, what actions can I take to start, finding new clients or filling my calendar? If I'm not spending enough time with family, all right, let's make some time. So it's sort of, if something isn't quite working, it's more about I just try and take an action relatively swiftly to adjust the course of how it's going.
So adaptability is the key.
Yeah, and just being clear on what your goals are and your priorities, really. If you have a priority to, let's say, finish work at 6. So a lot of my clients sort of busy execs, professionals, business owners, and if given the chance, they'd probably keep working till 11 o'clock at night every day and just go. But it's about looking at what priorities we need to make for them to look after them. And in theory, the laptop should close at 6. So the laptop closes at 6. We make a conscious decision and create that space in the evening for them to then focus on other areas. So adaptability, but also being firm on what your non-negotiables are for you and what your priorities are moving forward.
Okay. And of course, the other thing is that people these days are so pressurized and they're pushed, aren't they? You've got to meet this target, you've got to meet that target, and you've got to serve this customer, and you've got to. And I think even in the health sector, they've all got these targets, which generally speaking, a lot of them seem unattainable. They seem to set the level so high. And then they feel a failure because they haven't got to that, because it's probably not attainable in the first place. So if you're you're an executive and you've got things to do for your customers and you haven't managed to do it by 6, do you then feel obliged that you should then carry on to get that done? Or do you risk burning out and not being able to do it further down the line?
Okay, so if you are, let's say you work in a business where you're business to business, yeah? So everything you're doing is for your business clients, and you give them a time frame to do a job in. First of all, the time frame that you give them is probably shorter than what they were expecting.
Yep.
So most people are very eager to please others. So we tend to put more pressure on ourselves than they would expect us to. So it might say, I'll do it in a week, and the customer's probably going, oh, I expected it in 2. Fantastic. Second of all, you want to take that time frame and look at it with a non-biased perspective. So we tend to look at things with emotion. So, if I can't do it in a week, I feel like a failure, or I feel like I'm not living up to what I want to. Look at it from a non-biased. Is it possible for me within a 9 to 5 to do this? Yes? Cool. Tick the box. No, extend the time frame. And then the third thing is looking at how your energy levels affect your ability to work at your peak. So most people that I speak to, especially since home working has become quite a big thing, 2 problems. 1, huge numbers of distractions. Oh, I'm getting a bit, let's scroll on Facebook. Oh, I'm getting a bit, let's go and put the washing on. There's a lot of distractions, especially with social media, where you don't think that you're spending that long, but every sort of 5 to 10 minutes, you're breaking and just distracting yourself from the task at hand. This then extends the day for another few hours, whereas if you just concentrated for the time frame that you've given yourself, you'd actually be more efficient. Secondly, the energy required to work at maximum is usually more than the energy most people have because they're not prioritizing certain areas. So if we said, you know, for the next month, my laptop goes off at 6 regardless, and then the next hour I'm going to take to go for a walk, meditate, bubble bath, relax, whatever it might be. Because I've done that at 6 till 7, I'm then going to eat at 7. I'm then going to take an hour or so to wind down, and I'm in bed at 10. I'm up at 6, I've got my full 8 hours. Yeah. They're getting time for themselves, they're getting adequate sleep, their energy levels start to go up, especially if they start to eat well. So the correct nutrition to bring energy up as well is huge. And taking these little steps short term then starts to mean that we are more focused and able to actually work more efficiently. And when we can start to work more efficiently because we've taken those steps to look after ourselves, we can suddenly do what used to take 10 hours in the space of 7. So it's sort of, rather than looking at a half-hour walk as just a half-hour walk, which doesn't really sound that important.
No, it doesn't.
As half an hour to save you an hour's worth of inefficiency later down the line.
Yeah. So it all has a knock-on effect and benefit. All right. So people would have to sort of rearrange things. And do you think that perhaps the lifestyle that people have and work-related things, and like you pointed out, the pressures to do things, do you think that automatically puts a shield up to what people should be doing for themselves? Do they actually not take the time for themselves? Therefore, it has a snowball effect over the course of time?
Yeah, I mean, there's no such thing as should be doing. You know, every single person that I work with, it's never about what you should be doing, have to do, because that's just more internal pressure. When we tell ourselves we have to or should do, it becomes another source of stress. The whole point is we want to start relieving stress to allow our brains to have the mental capacity to work at a faster and more efficient rate. So in order to do that, it's about not what I have to do, what would I like to do? No one ever stops to think about all the things that they would like to do on a daily basis because something in their brain says I can't find the time. Not finding the time is not the real reason. Inability to understand how to live your life with balance and have the energy to do so, that's usually the reason. So it's about, okay, what would we like to do every day or once a week that will allow us to recharge and reset? Okay, that's our goal. How do we now make it happen? Take little steps backwards to work out how we get from A to B.
Okay, fine. So it's a case of working it all out, really, isn't it? In all honesty. Okay, all right. Let's, on that note, then, let's play a bit of music, which I think will just cover that quite nicely. The Beatles, We Can Work It Out. Fresh Gold Radio this morning, and joining us back is RITA Trotter. Now, people have always thought, and me too, that when you try to lose weight or improve matters of healthy living and that kind of thing, counting calories. And it's always seemed to me that when they said, oh, and it's, you're sort of rebuffed by that. Oh, I can count this and add this in, and can I have that? And how do we, is it always necessary to count calories, or can we look at it different ways? What would you suggest?
Okay. So is it necessary to count calories? No. Do we want to do it for the rest of our lives? Personally, no. Is it helpful short term? Yeah, if we do it in the right way. So most people, the problem with counting calories is that most people think it's quite an onerous task. So I've got to sit there and I've got to type everything into some sort of app, and you know, it's just too much time, it's too much hassle. So a really quick, easy way to deal with that is that, so a lot of my clients who are time poor, you know, okay, snap a photo. Everything you eat for a day, just snap a photo. Usually in the evening, somewhere, 90% of people, I know that's a bit of a broad statement, but 90% of people somewhere in the evening sit down and watch telly, in this country at least.
Yeah.
An hour in front of telly, you've snapped a quick pic, you know, cup of coffee, snap a pic, lunch, snap a pic. Right, sit down, I'm in front of Netflix. I mean, there really needs to be, a category on Netflix, which is I can watch while scrolling on my phone, which is what I swear the majority of people do. But you're on your phone, go through the photos and add them in. So you've got a record, and it makes it a much quicker, simpler task to simply look at the photo and add it in as you go. Now, the reason it's helpful is that most of us actually underestimate the number of calories in food. Not only that, we underestimate the balance of the food that we're eating. So most people who start to count calories in something that tracks, carbs and fat and protein, which are all words that we've heard of, tend to find that their carbohydrate intake is huge. Nothing wrong with carbohydrates. I love them. Pasta's great. Do we want 80% of our daily intake to be them? No, we want a bit more balance. So it gives you quite a good nutritional insight, as well as how many calories you're eating. But it's even things, if you chose a salad, with no dressing, or you chose a salad which has got a tablespoon of olive oil on it, what's the difference? Most people know, okay, well, olive oil is going to add something, but how much? How many calories have I just added? No clue. So little things like that, short term, can really help us to massively get to grips with what we're doing, especially eating out. So I had a client who ate out once a week, didn't really think much of it. And I said, just track the calories from that one meal. That's all I want you to do, is that one meal when you go out, track the calories. And a lot of restaurants, by the way, you can actually find their own stuff on things like MyFitnessPal. So she did. And in this one Indian that she had per week, one meal, she was having about 1,800 calories in one meal, and then eating throughout the rest of the day.
Right.
And she's sitting there going, right, well, throughout the week, I'm eating less. I'm eating, I don't know, maybe 300 calories less than she needed. Why can't I lose weight? Then we get to the weekend, track that one meal. Well, you're having a whole day's calories in one meal there, so it's just cancelling it out. But until she looked at it, because you look at a plate, you don't look at it and go, oh, yeah, that's that many. So it can short term give a really good indication, but you have to do it accurately. You can't sort of sit at home going, I've made a cottage pie and the mashed potato is half potato and half butter, and then go, where's the lowest calorie option I can find on the app? It has to be done with self-honesty, being realistic about what you're doing. And then long term, it gives you the understanding to do it for yourself. So I can look at, I don't know, a slice of wholemeal toast and a couple of eggs for breakfast, and I automatically know roughly the calories in it. That just means that I don't have to track anymore, because I know going forward intuitively what I'm doing. But you do have to learn that process.
All right. I'm just getting that through my head. I like the idea about you taking the pictures of things, because that's that's, you've always got your phone in your hand or whatever, and so therefore you can do it that way. All right. So presumably then, after you've taken these pictures, you've got that record and you're looking back on it, and you can go, right, okay. So you then start to reduce. You've got to have a baseline to go from first, haven't you? You've got to have something to work from.
So you need something to work from, but it's not about suddenly uphauling or upheaving. My ability to articulate thoughts this morning is clearly gone. But what we want to do is just every week make it a little bit better. So let's say you took photos of a day from this week, and we had for breakfast 4 eggs, 2 pieces of toast with loads of butter on it. You had snack of a Twix mid-morning. Lunch, you had a big bowl of pasta something. You then had another shortbread in the afternoon. Dinner, you suddenly had I don't know, a huge lasagna. Random. But is it about next week going, okay, cut out both of the snacks, change everything to salad, have no butter? No, it's not about uprooting everything that you do. It's about what is slightly better than the week before. How can I improve one thing? Okay, instead of a Twix, I'll have an apple. Cool. That's an improvement. Done. Each week, each day, each month of your life is just about creating a small change, that means you're a little bit better than before. You know, when you go to a gym, all these bodybuilders didn't suddenly go from skinny little twig of a teenager lad to Arnold Schwarzenegger. It wasn't an instant change. No. It was, okay, what can I do this week? Right, I'm going to do one workout a week. This week, I'm going to do an extra 10 minutes. This week, I'm going to put my weights up by 2%. And each week, they make a small improvement that over time creates a huge change. And that's all it is. And actually taking photos of food is a brilliant way to do that, because it gives you a sudden enlightenment about what you're doing. Because if we think about it, it's not quite as obvious as when we are faced with the reality.
No. And the other thing, of course, that I think, and the same works with children as well. If you tell them they can't do something or you can't do something, straight away you want to do the opposite and be rebellious against it. And add that into where people want things now. They want the instant gratification. They want the, like you mentioned the other day, you know, Amazon is here the next day. I can get it now. And maybe people think that these things ought to happen instantaneously, but it's a little bit often. And, you know, I think baby steps, as we've said many, many times, but good. So do you change your regime every week, or have you got to a plateau and a place now where you go, all right, I'm happy now. That's how I'm going to be, and I'm going to pass that information on. Do you self-analyze what you currently do and make changes, or are you okay as it is?
It fluctuates. So there are points where I self-analyze. So, you know, after Christmas, so I had an operation over Christmas, and because the kids were at home, I wasn't able to just go to the gym for an hour. That, you know, my routine had to change, and I wasn't able to exercise for a couple of weeks. So I continued to eat as I normally would. I didn't overindulge, I just ate. But obviously I'm not doing the same exercise. So there's a slight, you know, if we don't exercise, our muscles actually start to degress or regress. Yeah. Within 2 weeks, it's quite a short period of time where we start to lose the form that we had. So after a couple of weeks of not doing my usual exercise routine, all right, maybe my body fat went up by a couple of percent, my muscle went down. So I reanalyzed, what can I do to redress the balance to get back to where I was? Doesn't mean huge upheavals, but maybe it means for a couple of weeks adjusting the times that I ate things, or adjusting the quantity or quality of what I ate. Do I constantly uproot everything I'm doing? No. If I had a competition to work towards, or a photo shoot or something like that, yeah, possibly I would slightly adjust, because you want to be your best and look your best for those moments. Because just to set the record straight, anybody that does a fitness photo shoot, regardless of whether they're amateur, professional or otherwise, please, to the audience, don't think they walk around like that all the time.
No, that wouldn't be practical, would it?
It's not practical. And to be perfectly honest, if someone has ripped abs constantly, they're probably not living the most free or happy life they could, because constantly working to have a six-pack is just pretty much doing something to excess. It's the equivalent of just binging on food, binging on exercise. Why? So, you know, when you see all these things on Instagram, yeah, they are fit, don't get me wrong, and it takes a lot of effort, and throughout the rest of the year they're fit. Do they walk around with 10 six-packs? No. So, but if you are working towards something like that, yes, you might redress what you're doing and adjust. But on a general basis, I'm pretty much at a point where I'll just eat with an understanding of what I do. I enjoy food, you know. If I have a Twix, enjoy it. I'm not going to eat myself.
I understand you like pizza as well, don't you? You do like.
Oh, I love pizza.
All right.
Don't get me on pizza.
Calm down. All right, look, let's move on. Just before I go, listen, thank you very much again for your time this week. And also, do you do competitions? Are you a competitive person? Do you compete with yourself, or do you like compete with others, or is that a bit of both?
It's pretty much just with myself, to be perfectly honest. If I work towards, some sort of bodybuilding competition and I came last, as long as I've done better than the previous time, I'd be happy with that. Life isn't all about there's always going to be someone better. There's always going to be someone fitter, stronger, more ripped. And if we constantly compete and judge ourselves by other people's standards, then we're never going to be happy. Just judge yourself by your own standard, and as long as you're happy with it, the rest can, go out. Yeah.
All right. Okay. All right. Right. On that note, we'll do this. Rita, thank you very much for your time. Thank you for your smile. Enjoy your day, and we'll leave you with Olivia Neutron Bomb and Physical. You can have a jig now. Yeah, I know. Oh, Rita. Ta-da.
See you next week.
Superb. Thank you.
Lovely.
Lovely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Got to wake up and go to a client now. So.
Oh, you go out as well as people come to you, do you?
Yeah, so I do both. So I've now got to go to, where am I going? Martlesham. That's my next job.
Well, I hope you know where you're going, because that would be a bonus, wouldn't it?
I just go to my sat nav and go, which one is it today?
Have a good day, and
All right. I'll see you next week.
Take care, sweetie.
Bye.
Bye-bye.